Folks, good morning. James Azar here with the CyberHub podcast for your daily practitioner brief. It is September 3rd, 2020. I'm full of energy this morning, guys. I just feel it. It's a Labor Day weekend. I love Labor Day weekend. It is one of my favorite holidays. It really is because we get a chance to just relax, a really long weekend. I hope you guys have some stuff planned with your loved ones. I know I do, but you should as well. Now, here's the deal. No Tech Corner tomorrow, but you can go to cyberhubpodcast.com and get our practitioner brief. We'll be back with Tech Corner next week. I've got a very, very special guest. Javad Malik will be joining me from KnowBe4. We're going to have an awesome episode for y'all. I can't wait for you to listen to it. Tune into our Cisco Talk podcast. My good friend Russ Young, who is the Chief Information Security Officer for Caterpillar Financial Services, will be joining me later today on the podcast. You can get that by subscribing below or going to our website at cyberhubpodcast.com. Now let's get right into our practitioner brief today. A lot to talk about. Some really important stuff going on today. Folks, if you're using a WordPress website and you're not subscribed to our podcast, you're really just calling for it. So another exploit with WordPress, we pretty much cover 2 or 3 of these a week, folks, at this point. So cyber criminals are actively exploiting a critical remote code execution vulnerability, allowing unauthenticated attackers to upload scripts and execute arbitrary code on WordPress sites running vulnerable file manager plug-in versions. The vulnerability to the plugin developer file manager's devs patched the severe flaw with the release of versions 6.9. The file manager plugin is currently installed on more than 700,000 WordPress sites, and the vulnerability impacts all versions between 6.0 to 6.8. WordFence, which is a WordPress security company, said that the web application firewall was able to block out over 450,000 exploit attempts during the last several days alone. There is a patch by upgrading to 6.9. The link is available on our practitioner brief. Click it there, go get it. Make sure you upgrade your WordPress site so people aren't installing any scripts or hijacking anything. It's critical that those get done. I know vulnerability management is very difficult. We're seeing a lot of stories around it. If you have best practices, folks, let us know. Go to our website at cyberhubpodcast.com or tweet, LinkedIn, I don't care, whatever you prefer, however preference, share our best practices, come on the show, let us know what you're doing. We'd love to share knowledge about vulnerability management. So if you're able to do that, come on the show and let us know. Cisco Jabberbug could let criminals target Windows systems remotely. Cisco has released a new version of its Jabber video conferencing and messaging app for Windows that includes patches for multiple vulnerabilities, which, if exploited, could allow an authenticated remote attacker to execute arbitrary code. 2 of the 4 flaws could be exploited to gain remote code execution on target systems by sending specially crafted chat messages and group conversations or to specific individuals. The most severe flaw of the lot is a flaw CVE 2020-349 or 5, CVSSS score of 9.9, folks. That's caused by an improper validation of message content, which could be leveraged by an attacker by sending maliciously crafted extensible messaging and presence protocol XMPP messages to the affected software. According to Cisco, the successful exploit could allow the attacker to cause the application to execute arbitrary code programs on the targeted systems with the privileges of the user account that is running the Cisco Jabber client software, possibly resulting in arbitrary code execution. A patch is in place. There's several other CVEs here that also have been done. The latest software mitigates this entire risk. So all you have to do is just click update, folks, patch it, and it's done. China-based APT debuts the Sepulcher malware and a Spear-Phishing attack. So China, up to its usual malicious activity, the CCP does not let off. One has to understand, China has a 100-year plan. We live off of a 4-year plan. Democracies live off of a short-term political plan that often change within leadership changes within the nation based on the priorities of the elected leader. China does not have that, folks. Geopolitics play a critical role in cybersecurity. For those who don't comprehend that, for those who say, what does politics have to do with cyber? It has everything to do with cyber. Everything. President Obama's view on cybersecurity was very different from President Trump. The Israeli government's view, the defense minister, Benny Gantz, now has a very different view of cybersecurity than previous defense minister, Moshe Bughi Ya'alon. We see that also in the UK. We've seen it in France. Cyber and geopolitics go hand in hand when it comes to nation-to-nation combat and cyber warfare. China is no different, folks. The only advantage China and Russia and Iran have is they're not democracies. They don't elect officials. The same puppet, that same dictator, that same aristocrat is the one leading them, and they continue to operate in that modus operandi no matter what changes happen across any of the freedom-loving democracies across the globe, over 180 of them. But the 3-4 bad ones really try to create damage and chaos. So beware of that. So China has now been targeting with a never before seen intelligence collection RAT dubbed Sepulcher, I guess. I can't. You guys know this already. Researchers discovered. I don't want to sound like, whatever. Researchers have discovered the new malware being distributed over the past 6 months through 2 separate campaigns. The first in March, which targeted European diplomat and legislative bodies, nonprofit policy research organizations, and global organizations dealing with economic affairs. The second one now is targeting Tibetan descendants. The tied to campaign is APT group TA413, which researchers say has been associated with Chinese state interest and is known to target the Tibetan community. Researchers observed this same APT launch the COVID-19 critical preparedness phishing campaign around the World Health Organization, which they also run. This one comes from the Women Association of Tibet, includes a malicious PowerPoint attachment titled Tibetans being hit by a deadly virus that carries a gun and speaks Chinese. When the PowerPoint attachment is executed, it calls out to an IP 118.999.13.4 to download the payload named file.dll, and then goes into a whole execution and a RAT platform that's capable of getting system data, as well as pushing files and executing and terminating processes on the device. A few other stories that are available where BEC wire transfers now average about $80,000 per attack. Alphabet dark web marketplaces moderator gets 11 years in prison, and the U.S. agencies must adopt a vulnerability disclosure policies by March of 2021 or else. That's it for our practitioner brief here today, folks. Make sure you subscribe, give us 5 stars, let your friends and colleagues know all about this. Enjoy your Labor Day weekend. We'll be back Tuesday because we'll be off on Monday for Labor Day. We'll be back on Tuesday with more practitioner briefs. Until then, enjoy your days off. Enjoy your weekend. For those outside the U.S., it's just another weekend for y'all. But your Labor Day is on May 1st, so we'll try to honor that next year. Until then, folks, thank you so much for listening. Thanks so much for subscribing, and stay cyber safe.